Hi, I'm Cindy Abbott-Letro for Behind the Camera. In the summer of 2017, The True Adventures of Wolfboy was shot here in Western New York, and the director, Martin Krejci, has been happy that it has finally opened around the world, in fact. Today we're going to talk with him via Zoom technology in his native Czech Republic.
Okay, Martin, the True Adventures of Wolfboy has been opening up around the country, and it's really gotten great reviews. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about your experience here in Buffalo. How did you choose our city? And, you know, when people describe you, they say it's Tim Burton meets Fellini, and, you know, maybe just explain a little bit of what the sort of the concept of Wolfboy is.
Okay, well, I'll try to make it as simple and short as possible. The original idea when I read the script and when we discussed with Olivia what's the right approach, I was particularly I felt connected with the fact that the story, however surreal it might feel or might be, it's grounded in reality because it's authentic. It's about feelings and emotions which everyone can experience. So, and that kind of inspired me to look for strange and quirky and unexpected within our reality. So rather than creating it out of scratch, just based on some fantasy, I wanted to look for that different and unusual angle on the reality we live in. Now,
Martin, can I interrupt just 1 second? Because on the surface of it, of course, the story is one that is sort of fantastical in the sense that it's a young man that has a condition that causes him to, you know, have hair all over his body, and if he tries to shave it off, it comes back even thicker. But is he like, I mean, is this an allegory? Does he represent good? And, you know, is it good and evil? And you know, do the characters in this represent sort of universal feelings or
well, I guess that would be down to the point I was talking about, that even though it's strange and it feels surreal, the disease does exist. It does exist. It's just very rare disease. So it's called hypertrichosis, and it's quite it's well known and well documented disease. So and that makes you really, like, it doesn't affect your mind, your brain. It's just like you have the facial growth, which is not possible to shave because it's a gene kind of thing. And so back to your question, I would say it is allegory in sense of using an example of something which exists in order to provoke your own projections. Like you can, my ambition, or our ambition, was to create a story where you can find yourself in it. So throughout the film, you forget about his facial hairs and you just connect with the feelings and emotions. And that's why we picked up the canvas of Buffalo, because first time when I arrived, I was just completely mesmerized by the surreality of the city. You know, the whole how to put it, like, I mean, I'm coming from East Europe, so I guess I have a different point of view, because what feels very normal to American people, I just found fascinating. Like the whole system of electricity, where you have the cables and the forest of cables, the whole grandiose scale of the city, which was on its peak back in 50s, 60s, and in the industrial kind of beauty. And then when I was talking to people, I found out why it was, and because it was like the harbor for all the goods coming in to travel down to New York, and then they just at some point it got omitted. So the pride of humankind, which is kind of collapsing there, and the whole silo city, which creates such an amazing backdrop to, and you have such a contrast between very low and poor to something really fascinating and grandiose, and that's very rare. So I thought, because it's real and authentic, it was really great fit for our film.
Well, I know that I had a chance to visit the amusement, sort of the midway that you constructed behind the Summit Park Mall up in Wheatfield, Niagara Falls, and that was fantastical. But what drew you to this story? I know that I've read your biography, and you've won many awards for the commercials that you've done, which are, you know, incredibly successful. You know, big companies like Nike and Adidas, Apple. This is your sort of entree into directing long form, a film. Why this story? Why, you know, this subject matter? Was it, you know, what drew you to this?
Yeah, well, you almost gave the answer in your question. It's a stigma, I guess. When you're seen as a commercial director, everyone treats you like a hired gun. And I'm coming from a small country called Czech Republic, where we are like hobbits. Like amongst ourselves, we kind of feel like we are great and we have an amazing history. Everyone knows about us around the world. Well, the truth is that nobody, like I've had so many people asking whether Czech Republic is in Prague, and it's a small European country. So I guess I never aimed to do commercials as something which I want to make money on. It was just an amazing form of exercise for me, like a laboratory. But I studied in a film school. I studied documentary for 5 years. So it just happened, and suddenly I found myself doing it for fun, and then I guess it was successful, whatever. But to your question, the whole feeling of stigma and the cultural differences is just another form of hair. You know, like it could be someone's feeling of feeling alienated is very universal feeling, and what I loved about this particular script, and the reason why I found myself rooting into it, was that unlike the usual coming of age story where you feel like you're alienated and you need to live with your feeling of being minor or somehow different, and usually those films are about the lesson that how to make the majority accept the minority. It's about acceptance, you know. And of course, one way or another, everything is about self-acceptance, about accepting who you are for who you are. And I thought that this Olivia's script was different because it didn't point out that Paul is a minor and he needs to find his position in the majority, in the normality, because normality doesn't exist really, because everyone, one way or another, have those internal feelings of being different, and we are all scared, we are all fragile because we are afraid that people won't accept us. And it doesn't matter if you go to an extreme with the facial hair, or just because maybe someone's overweight, and the correctness of the times we live in doesn't allow to call it inside yourself almost, because everyone's so hungry for being accepted that we are forgetting one thing, that the world is filled and created by people who are individualists, and their uniqueness are in fact basically the feeling of being alone with my own insecurities. The lesson which Paul takes on is that he learns that everyone has the same feeling. Therefore, he can blossom, you know, because you realize that the world isn't a place which won't understand you. It's just that we all have individual fears, and so we are not alone in this, because we have those feelings all together, and it's just about realizing that that's the fact, you know. I don't know if it makes sense.
It's interesting that you say that and point that out, because in many ways our city, which you talked about, which we had the heyday end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, in recent times has really struggled to really prove themselves as having recreated themselves. So that in many ways the city is sort of a model for what you did with your film too, in that, that we are constantly trying to prove ourselves. What was it like for you to find cast and crew here? We're trying to really build a film industry in our region.
Yeah.
And how easy was it for you, or was it difficult for you to do this film?
It was, and I know everyone said in those interviews, but I cannot praise enough your local community. It's been absolute dream, and having experienced shooting in LA, where you really are enemy, like everyone's so full of hate because of the history. Everyone is like, you almost are, people will point a gun at you if you come that you're about to film somewhere. But in Buffalo and people who helped us with casting, and they set up the company now. Such lovely people, really so enthusiastic, and the energy was, I guess, there was like the wind which was blowing into my sails, if it makes sense, if I can put it this way. It was really, and all that. Like, I'll give you an example. So Declan, the line producer, we were about to shoot the scene, the whole carnival, and we needed like 750 extras. So I thought, like, that's gonna be tricky, obviously costly and that stuff. And Declan kept saying, like, well, don't worry, they just. So basically, what happened? We had, I don't know, 700 people, and it was like 98 degrees at the time. It was super hot summer, and there were 4 consequent days where all 750 people would arrive, and they would always come again 4 days in a row for free. And I when he told me that, I absolutely didn't believe that. It would be absolutely impossible anywhere else in the world. Like so I guess that's the answer to your question. I really, starting with your lovely people from the Film Commission. It's just Jeff Wall and like all the people from the casting, and it was such really amazing experience.
Well, I think that's what we sort of try to pride ourselves on in Buffalo, of
Right.
Being able to do that. What is next for you? What are you working on next? I know it took a while for this. COVID certainly interrupted everything, but what is the next project?
Well, we have a project which I've been developing since basically we finished with Wolfboy, and it's a very different story. It's inspired by Rasputin. I don't know if you're familiar.
Oh
with the
yes,
story.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
the Mad Monk. Yes.
Yes, yeah. Well, and it's funny. We've transformed this into British Columbia in 1904 during the peak of gold rush, and it was absurd because we finished the story itself, not the script, end of 2018, prior to the COVID. But our story deals with this mysterious disease, which is infectious. So it was like as if Rasputin kind of send us a message. So it was almost spooky in a way, but it's a survival, quite dark tale of, but with very important message, I would hope. And it is like I would say it's about the relationship of the father to his son, really. But given the canvas of this world and era.
It seems as if that you've shaken off that the catalog, or the way that you've been labeled as just purely a commercial producer, and now we're well on your way to being a wonderful director. Thank you for talking to us today. Thank you for coming to Buffalo with the True Adventures of Wolfboy, and much success to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
This is Cindy Abbott Litro for Behind the Camera. See you next time.